We're Stephen and Grace, a Boricua from Brooklyn and a Filipina from Queens, New York.
Married over 20 years, raising 4 kids, and still choosing each other every day.
This is the Love Suite, where we get real about love, marriage, parenting, money, intimacy, and culture.
We come from New York, roots that span islands, languages, traditions, and struggle. And that's our power. Grit, first and second gen hustle, big city survival.
Our cultures taught us resilience, resourcefulness, and love that outlasts the storm.
And if you're listening, chances are your story carries that same beauty, multiple cultures, multiple legacies, and one truth. We're still here, building love that lasts. Welcome to the Love Suite.
As we bring 2025 to a close, we have a slew of options for 2026. How will you start the new year? Will it be a new diet, new gym membership? What will it be?
So many things to choose from. Reinvent who I already am.
Now, is that the way to go about it, or should we try something else?
Well, I mean, there's so much pressure nowadays at this time of the year to reinvent yourself, just like you said.
It's the clean slate time. But does clean slate mean, what do you think it would mean?
I think American culture pressures you to reinvent yourself into the new year, like start over, time to start over. But in other cultures, it's not that way. In Filipino culture, our customs are more rooted in prosperity, protection, and continuity. Continuity. Continuity?
Continuity.
I never know how to say that word. So you're not supposed to fix yourself. It's more of calling in things into your new year because life just continues, right? So we have different traditions in Filipino culture, like round things everywhere. So I am paying homage to that tradition. I'm wearing polka dots. So round things like coins or grapes, which was a huge thing that my mom liked to do. She would buy a bunch of grapes, oranges, anything round. And she would say, you have to eat all of these. So it'd be 12 pieces of grapes. I'm sure she gave you your share and you had to eat it, and wear round things because round equals coins, which equals abundance. We had making noise at night because you're driving away these bad spirits and bad luck. It's an energetic cleansing. We would also leave the doors and windows open. So you're letting all of the bad out and you're welcoming the new in. So out with the old, in with the new. We ate a lot, Filipino culture, and then get this one. They would tell you to jump, especially kids. Jump up and down at midnight because you'll grow taller.
Yeah, that sounds legit.
Yeah. And if you're really short, like all Filipinos are.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working too well.
Maybe you didn't jump at midnight. Maybe that's the problem.
I mean, I jump, I guess. I don't know. I'm taller than most Filipinos I meet, so.
The New Year energy for Filipinos, it's more about continuing what you have. You're not reinventing yourself. You're not correcting your flaws. You're calling in luck. And it's not an individual thing. It's about Kapwa, a community that we're all connected. So it's a collective well-being. How about Puerto Rican culture?
I don't know. We just celebrate and party. Food and rum. Sounds good to me. Sounds like a good time. So when we reflect back on the year, what do we do to keep ourselves from falling into the mousetrap of setting these expectations? As you said, of the new gym membership, the new diet. This time it's going to work. I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 3 days. You'll see.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to be better, right? To improve yourself. It's a beautiful concept in America, but many times when you are trying to execute that portion of New Year coming, you can self-criticize. And it can cause a lot of stress on someone. I know personally for me, even as a child, I put a lot of pressure on myself. Who am I going to be? And as the time got closer to midnight, I really stressed out. Like if I didn't solidify my goals of reinvention, that I was somehow failing.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard when you leap forward and you say, that's the only thing that'll, like, that's success rather than, um, well, I mean, I guess you can say to start this out by saying, let's talk about 2025 first before we do anything for 2020. And that's what reflection is all about.
Right. Because how can you truly set goals without looking at what you've already done? Or where do I stand here today? The blunt truth, being brutally honest with yourself. Where was I this year? And not reliving it, right? Not criticizing yourself. You're just reflecting.
What's happened has happened. It's a part of history now. So the question is, are we going to learn from it or are we just going to keep reliving it? So if you use it to learn from it, then by all means, let's go back, let's analyze, let's do all that. But if you just want to keep reliving it, and by reliving it, we mean this year would have been good if that didn't happen. If I would have just made a different choice at that day, or we're reliving it, and that keeps it present instead of in the past, and it helps drain you going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you're reflecting, you want to notice the patterns. So you're just noticing, you're observing, you name what it is. This was good. I was successful when I did this. Or when I did this particular thing, it was draining. So you're just making observations. You're acknowledging that reality.
To make like a baseball analogy, if the hitter hits the ball hard, just because he hit it at someone, it's an out, but you did what you were supposed to. You should take a plus away from that. I hit the ball. I did everything I wanted to. It just didn't turn out right.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
So it's a lesson. So it's not that you've lost or you're a loser, you're a failure. You learned something. So essentially you gained something. You gained knowledge, you gained experience.
Yes.
So whether it's a good experience or a bad experience, you've learned something from it. So in my eyes, something positive as long as you grow from it. So we're not going to rewrite the past. And you're not going to reflect and then set your goals based from guilt or fear of something repeating itself.
It's just, you have to leave it in the past. And like I said, we're just analyzing, we're noticing, and we're learning.
Yeah.
And move forward from it.
Yeah. And then after your reflection, then you can move on to the next step of actually making realistic goals. But there are some questions that you should ask yourself when you are reflecting. What are some of those questions, honey?
What did this year demand of me? Survival wise, what did it take to get from January to December?
Well, sometimes you'll have years of everything's positive. You won the office pool for, fantasy football, or luck just seems to find you everywhere you go. Sometimes you have years where there's a lot of loss, years where you have to be so courageous to get through something. Sometimes it's a year of just surviving, and the end of a year might actually feel fantastic to you because it feels like a reset.
We've had that where we'll move in the middle of a school year and leave the kids in their old school, and now that turns a potential 5 or 10 minute car ride to school into a 30-minute car ride to school. So that can be extra draining. It affects the schedule and everything. So is that going to be a drain on you? Yeah, absolutely. But it's also a victory. So it depends how you want to see it. Like you made it. You did it. It was tough, but congratulate yourself because you did it. It's not something that has to remain a negative or a drain on you.
Yeah. So those are different things that years can demand from you. So this past year, let me ask you, what was one thing that the year demanded of you that stands out to you?
I mean, time. I keep adding to my plate. And I'm not saying there's not room, but whenever you add things to a schedule, it's going to take some time to adjust. So it was very demanding. I mean, now that we've added this podcast and our business, yeah, it's consumed some. There's had to be some hours shifted around in our lives, but it is well worth it.
Man, I want to say time is also the same thing that's demanded of me. I've had to trade time to accomplish certain things that we've set, and I've lost rest over it. I have to reflect back, and you and I have a meeting set tomorrow
Oh,
at the public library. Yeah.
the library is about to be full with all our bands running there. Yeah, absolutely.
So we have it. So we have that set
okay.
because we are setting aside specific amount of time so that we can sit without being disturbed to reflect back on our year, to do exactly what we're discussing with you about reflecting back what worked, what didn't work. When did we find ourselves disconnected from each other? When did we find that we were very connected, where we tried really hard? What steps did we take that helped that? And what steps did we take that disrupted that?
Yeah.
Because we definitely did not do it perfectly because we're human.
Not only that, as long as we learn from it, I'm sure we'll do it even better this year. And that's something exciting to look forward to.
Yes, yes. So it's something that you need to reflect on your own. But if you are with a partner, you do need to set a time aside to do this. Reflect back. And then that way you can also set time aside to set your goals as partners.
Yeah.
About your family, your careers, the things you do want to achieve together, where your money's going to go. Like all of those things are important, but you need to start off with reflecting on what the past year has brought about.
There's different categories, different breakdowns you can have when reviewing your year, your life. There's always different categories of things and different priorities you set in each of those categories. So it's a lot to look back and say, is what I think actually what happened? You know, because sometimes people think, yeah, I put my family first. And then when you actually sit down and write it all out, you're like, yeah, maybe I didn't. Maybe the 12-hour days is not the best way to look out for my family, you know?
Right. Yes. And so it's just so how you look at things, right? Because if, for the example you just gave, I am giving myself at work, I'm doing 12-hour days, and I might feel some kind of satisfaction by doing that, right? Because I'm accomplishing something at work, I'm achieving something there, but there's always an exchange. How did I pay for that? You know, are my kids going to bed without saying goodnight to me now because I worked those 12 hours? Did I miss out on the family memory jokes at dinner time, or hearing the best part of my kids' days and the worst part and what they learned and all of that stuff?
You'll never know until you just sit down and write it all out and think it out. Because how much time do we really set aside to reflect on the past month, past year, past week? Do we even sit down and look back at our marriage and say, how was our marriage this year?
You have to be very intentional. And it's a habit that you have to create. It's a muscle that you have to strengthen, reflecting back, touching base with your partner. How was your week? Was there anything that I did that didn't sit well with you? Did I do something that I could have done better? How about my wins? What did I do that you really felt helped our marriage, our connection? It's really intentional. And then what can I do this week that will help our marriage? When you discuss these things, it can be very short conversation. It doesn't have to be long.
Yeah, it's as long as it's going to be.
Yeah. And so the point is that when you make habits of this, it becomes easier and it's intentional. So
that kind of helps lead into our second question.
Okay. Yeah. What is it?
So,
what is it? Tell me, I'm dying to know.
Where did you abandon yourself and where did you show up anyway? Did you say, hey, this was a bad situation, but I did it anyway? I think back at as an inspirational thing, 400-meter run, and the guy pulled his hamstring pretty bad and wound up kind of falling. And his dad ran onto the track, and the race was over. And he's obviously going to be disqualified with his dad helping him up, but he decided to finish the race anyway with his dad. And
I love that video.
yeah, that's finishing, and that's its own victory. Even though the stat sheet may say otherwise, it's what goes on inside your head, which is what counts.
So he did not abandon himself.
No.
He showed up, he finished, even though it wasn't going to count for anything when it came to winning a medal.
Yeah. Finishing made, in his mind, made him a winner and made him achieve his goal.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes that could also, depending on how the situation is, it's also knowing when to stop.
Yeah.
Right? So to persist can be looked at as not abandoning yourself, but sometimes it could also be looked at as abandoning yourself if you don't know when enough is enough. So that's my weakness. So it's, I'm going to work, and everything is saying, oh, you need to stop. It's unhealthy. You're not feeling well. You need rest, or you need to be spending time taking care of yourself, spending time with the family, unwind. And when you don't do that and you keep persisting, that could be self-abandonment too.
As you mentioned yourself, I mean, for those of you who don't know, my wife will work too many hours, even though she knows when she passes that line, she will have heart palpitations all night, and which will ruin her sleep, but she does it anyway, and she'll pass that line habitually.
I have gotten better. I would say that the last few times that it's happened to me, it has been because of I'm staying up late hanging out with the children. So
it's a little different.
But
we'll talk about it tomorrow.
But yeah, so it's where did I abandon myself, you said, and where did I show up anyway? And so showing up doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be in a huge dramatic way. It could be internally, quietly. Nobody has to witness you showing up for it to be true.
Only you know the real answer. And in the end, that's the most important piece. Our mind is so powerful that as long as our mind knows the truth and knows we showed up or we didn't abandon ourselves, that's the internal victory we're looking for.
But to also name when you did abandon yourself, because those happen.
And like I said, we're here to learn. We're not here to punish and say, well, I always do that. I always do this. And you don't want to let it go. So that leads into my next question now that I think about it. What do you not want to carry forward? What did we learn that will help us going forward? Because we've talked about learning from things in the past that maybe didn't turn out the way we imagined them. What are we going to learn from that to help us get a more desired result?
Right. What am I going to release? What am I going to let go?
Yeah, and that's its own deep question. Like when we say release, can you go into more of what that entails or what the actual definition is?
So you're going to reflect back. You say, for example, I'm going to use myself as an example. What didn't work for me and that I noticed was that I tend to take responsibility for the emotions of others when those emotions aren't mine, right? So I've learned that just because I can feel someone else's frustrations or sadness, that doesn't mean I caused it, and it's not mine to fix. So next year, I'm choosing to release that responsibility that I carry. It's something that nobody's telling me, Grace, fix everyone's emotions. Grace, you're responsible to make sure everyone is happy.
Those are deeper questions for someone else. I mean, yeah.
But sometimes it's not something somebody puts on you. You put it on yourself, right? So another example would be like, I feel guilty every time I take a break from doing my responsibilities during the day. Everyone deserves a break, but nobody's telling you not to take a break. So if you look back and reflect and say, I noticed these things and I don't want to bring that with me into the new year. So this requires you really being honest with yourself and saying, I can do without that next year. And that'll probably help me achieve some goal that I'm going to set. Because without the reflection, you won't know what could be a barrier to achieving a goal that you have in the back of your mind that you'd like to attain. I hope that made sense.
I think so. I think for me, releasing something is, like we talked about earlier, noticing a pattern, something you've done inadvertently, where if you were thinking a little more logically or something like that, you wouldn't want to do. And for whatever reason, you do it. And you just want to say, I notice that I'm doing that, and I don't want to anymore. And in order to do that, you do have to notice it and realize why.
Yeah.
And that helps you move past it. And I mean, for me, what I have been working on throughout the year, and I look forward to doing an even better job this upcoming year, is releasing expectations, anything and everything. It's not just people. We're going to get into this in a few episodes. Think about it. When we drive, you have expectations of how the people are going to drive next to you. And when someone does something, say, I don't know, cut you off, or what you deem as cut off, you start screaming at them. I mean, here in Texas, we have a bit of a road rage problem for sure. And that's just one small thing of that comes from expectations. I mean, I'm trying to look at something like that as saying, well, thankfully they didn't hit me. And that's it.
So can you go more into like what expectations you have? Because you do want to have some expectations of yourself or just generally about humanity. Because not having expectations could also be negative, right?
It could, but to me, it leads you to realizing you are the master of your own domain and you are in control of whatever you want to be in control of. And things that are more of in the universe's control, you can't have an expectation of that. So it's something that I think I've really zoned in on, especially the second half of this year. And like I said, I look forward to having an episode talking about expectations.
I can't wait to see how this unfolds next year. So I would say, in order to enter this new year without it being chaotic and full of lots of pressure and being in this frenzy of trying to get your goals together, you have to enter a certain way. And what this reflecting back brings is calmness.
Yeah.
And you are a very calm person.
Me?
Yes, you are.
I'll take that.
You that's how you are mostly. Obviously, you're human, so you can escalate, which you have to at times, right?
Absolutely. We have slips.
Well, I mean, also in order to keep the community safe, sometimes you have to.
Well, sometimes that's also done in a very controlled manner. So.
Right. Your energy is very calm and control, and it's very powerful. So calmness is powerful. And in order to make decisions,
well,
calmness is necessary.
Absolutely. The strongest part of your body is always your brain. And one thing I like teaching rookies is that is the number one thing that gives you the advantage, is being able to do that. And in order to do that, you've got to have a calm, relaxed mind, body, because the minute you do, you're able to use your brain to its full capacity. Stress it's kind of like the traffic jam when it comes to thoughts and stuff like that. It really bogs the thought process down. So we're saying to do this in a calm fashion, not adding the pressure of expectations, because that is stressful.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if we're just simply learning from things that have already happened, making calm, rational choices on what we're going to release and what we're going to bring forward into the new year, it's done in a more relaxed atmosphere than the other way around.
Right, right. So it's about being more honest, being more true, more authentic. So going into the year of being more of who you are. And instead of saying I'm going to be better this year, it could be I'm going to be more authentic this year, which is the highest level of frequency of energy, is being authentic.
And I'm here to tell you guys, you're going to be better this year, whether you like it or not.
Yes, I believe that. I do. I'm really excited for everyone to grow this year. That's one of my goals. I always want to grow. I never want to be stagnant. So, but just being truer to yourself, being the more authentic you. And so before you make that vision board, you got to know what you're done tolerating.
Yeah.
Don't just jump into the vision board.
Please
Just cutting out stuff,
This picture of this skinny person is gonna be me.
You want to have a more romantic relationship.
Yeah.
How are you going to get there if you don't know what worked and what didn't, right? All right, so let's give our listeners a gentle practice. So, want you to do these simple things. It's just 3 simple things. You're going to write down one thing that you're proud of from this year, one thing that you're releasing, and one thing you want to protect this year. So, baby.
Should I answer?
Yeah, let me hear what your answers are.
Well, just to let people know, I didn't think of these right this second. We were discussing this, and I said, I need minutes and hours to think of this. But for me, I think my proudest moment at work, I do a lot of training, which can be very draining.
You're training other officers.
Right. It can be. Not it can be. It is draining. I'm sorry, all you rookies out there. You guys really suck a lot of energy from me. But I'm proudest for it because I enjoy it. I do. And I like being able to sink my knowledge into someone else to give them the best chance at being a great officer. Yeah, that's the proudest for me. Releasing, we gently touched on expectations. And protect. I'd like to protect more of my personal time this year. What I mean by that is, I think this year I've done a lot of growing.
Yes, you have. You have.
In all aspects of my life, but I've realized that a lot of I love listening to audiobooks and things like that and talking to people, but I feel like, how can I put this? It's like Lego. Okay, so like all these things that I'm getting from other people, the knowledge is just them handing me Lego pieces, but I need my time to build what I need to build with these Lego pieces. And without my alone time to reflect on everything I've learned and figure out how to best piece everything together to customize it so that it works best for me, I need my time.
Yeah.
And going forward, I know that's a huge key for my growth. So I definitely want to protect me time.
So we're going to make sure we incorporate that in our planning when we have our meeting tomorrow.
More meeting. All right.
Yeah. Well, for me, I would say that the one thing that I'm most proud of this year is you and I starting our podcast and coaching business together. I am just like, I'm so on fire. I'm burning up in flames.
And reflecting on it, we can say, hey, we didn't make a fortune this year,
No,
but
it's just the beginning.
It doesn't matter. We're focused on where we're going to be. We're going to look back and see any things that we can release and make ourselves even better in 2026.
Right. But even so, this year, I know that we touched the lives of some people, whether it was through an Instagram post, a conversation in passing, an episode on the podcast. I know that we're touching people's lives and making an impact. And that means so much to me, that it makes people reflect. How can they improve their lives and build their own love legacy? And what does that look like, right? I already talked about what I'm releasing. And the one thing that I am making it my business to protect this year in 2026 is my rest. I'll take that silent clap.
That is a big one, because I have mentioned that to you, I'd say probably about on average once a week.
It's been a very challenging year for me because at work, I was made to step up in more demanding position for leadership. So I took responsibility over a very large project. It's a yearly project.
I said, and you did step up. You did an amazing job. I'd find it hard to believe that it went unnoticed. So
thank you. I took it so that I could lead people in the project and obviously be successful in the goals that we had. But I also took the opportunity to touch the lives of all the people I was working with and to bring positivity and gentleness and kindness and reflection and all those goodies that comes in making sure that you are giving yourself grace when you're working hard too. So anyway, I'm going to protect my rest this year. And I have already started a little bit early because I've taken the last 2 weeks of December off. Look, it's the first time I'm doing this. I'm like, but the one thing it showed me is how my nervous system didn't know how to not be in survival mode. It took a couple of days, 4 or 5 days, before I could actually start to relax and not feel like I had to work. So, yeah.
Awesome. I'm very much looking forward to 2026, and I hope everyone is too.
Yeah. So, and with that, we're going to close. This wraps up the episode 16 of the Love Suite. We're genuinely honored that you chose to sit with us today. So as you let this year close, we invite you to move slowly. You don't have to solve anything. You don't have to figure next year out. Just notice. So if it feels right, take a few moments, sit quietly, reflect on those questions that we shared, what this year asked of you, what you're ready to release, and what you want to protect moving forward. And if you want to share, whether it's a sentence, a thought, or something you're still sitting with, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at thelovesuite.podcast@gmail.com. We read every message and it means more than you know. If you're finding value in these conversations, please subscribe to the Love Suite on whatever platform you're listening on. And subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at thelovesuite.podcast to stay connected between episodes. As this year comes to a close, our wish for you is simple. May you release what no longer belongs to you. May you carry forward what strengthens you. And may you enter the next year with a little more honesty, a little more presence, and a lot more grace for yourself. We'll see you in the next chapter and into 2026. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. I love you, Papa.
I love you too.